You're watching the Thunder Squad Show. Tyler Jones here, and I'm going to talk about the Thunder's stars shining on one of the brightest stages in the NBA Cup last night and why you should expect more of it as the Thunder are headed to the semifinals.
I'm Rylan Stiles. I'm going to tell you about the Thunder extending their franchise best winning streak and why that trend will continue Saturday.
I'm Jeremy Lamb. I'm going to talk about Mark Daigneault's focus the rest of the season.
This is Locked On's Thunder Squad Show, the twice-a-week show where Thunder talk gets real. No filters, no fluff, just raw takes, sharp opinions, and straight-up passion for the game, the way only Locked On Podcast Network knows how. Let's drop some dimes and squad up. The Thunder Squad Show starts now.
Good, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of the Thunder Squad Show on this Thursday afternoon. Tyler Jones, Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb here with you. Appreciate y'all spending part of your day with us as we react to a big win for the Oklahoma City Thunder over the Phoenix Suns last night. We'll talk about that and more, as well as the franchise win record being set. Cason Wallace a little banged up. What's going on there? And where's the focus for this team at? We'll hear from Mark Daigneault and share our thoughts coming up in just a bit. Before we do any of that, folks, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Check out Gametime today, a proud partner of the Thunder Squad Show. Guys, a big win for Oklahoma City last night over Phoenix to move on to the semifinals of the NBA Cup, where they will face the San Antonio Spurs, who defeated the Los Angeles Lakers last night there in LA. And this game for Oklahoma City, not only did you get the spot in the semifinals locked up, you also broke the franchise record for wins in a row. And then on top of that, you also tied the NBA record for a best start ever with the Golden State Warriors at 24-1. So with that, for me, what was so fascinating when you look back at last night's game, it wasn't just that Oklahoma City won in the dominating fashion that they did, but their best players stepped up as well. You look at the numbers from what we saw from SGA, 28 points, 11 of 15 from the field, 3 of 4 shooting. Chet Holmgren, 24 points, 9 of 13 from the field, 8 rebounds. And you also had Jalen Williams at 15, Lou Dort with 12, Deng and Carlson each with 11. Just an overall good performance, a good team win. Jeremy, I'll start with you. We were talking about how big a deal this NBA Cup was, that the Thunder, along with really the rest of the NBA, was taking this thing seriously. And I think last night that they sent a statement of sorts with this win and the fact that their best players rose to the occasion as well, that they didn't take this lightly.
Yeah, for sure. You already know what SGA gonna do, and you already know what your stars are gonna do. But it was good to see Lou Dort back. It was good to see them just be in sync. The thing about it, when people are out and in, sometimes you kind of think like, are they gonna have a period where you gotta get back in rhythm? And I don't see that with them. They always, just always, if someone's out, if someone's in, whatever it is, they always just know how to play together, play as a team. And like I said, it was great to see Lou Dort back out there. He was doing his thing. He was hitting threes. Obviously, he's definitely gonna play defense. He's one of the best in the game at doing that. And so just to see him moving his feet, feeling good, and then like I said, with SGA and Chet and everybody just playing well, it's a great thing to see. So yeah, when you see that, it's encouraging. And they beat them by like 50. And like I said, last year, I know is stung that they lost in the championship. And the only people that don't care about the NBA Cup is the people that lost already. So I know they got that on their mind. They really want to win, and you could tell by, the way they play the game.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. Rylan, you were at this game last night. This matchup was never even close. The Thunder had this one from the jump. They were dialed in with their stars leading the way here.
Yeah, I mean, it started from the opening tip-off. I mean, the Suns win the tip. Gillespie brings the ball across the timeline. Cason Wallace picks his pocket, goes the other way to start the scoring, and the Suns were just ultimately dejected from the 5-minute mark in this game on, trying to keep up with OKC, down Devin Booker, down Jalen Green, and they just could not do it. They had no answers. And the only time in this entire game that the Suns showed any life was in the second quarter when Shai was on the bench to trim this 20-something point lead back down to 11. And Shai comes back in, blows the game wide back open with a 20-6 run, and continues that momentum into the third quarter to get the largest lead of the season. You think about how crazy that is, considering the amount of blowouts that Thunder have had. The best of all time net rating as it presently stands, even before this lopsided win over the Suns. For them to dominate in this fashion against a top 15, top 10 defense in this league is really encouraging for all facets, but especially seeing, Shai rise the tides in that second quarter, continue to put the foot on the gas, and that kind of sent the message to the rest of the team, who never let up the entire time. Even in the fourth quarter, their bench mob was out there running up the score. So they played a really cohesive style, a very consistent style with their intensity and with the pressure that they put on the Suns, which led to their offensive success.
So to Rylan's point, what he's talking about there, I want to go over these numbers for a second to give some more context to what he's saying here. Of just what the Thunder did not let off the gas all night last night. First quarter, they outscore Phoenix 38-23. Second quarter, they outscore Phoenix 36-25. Third quarter, they outscore Phoenix 36-24. And then the fourth quarter, when they're up by 1,000,000 points at this point, they outscore Phoenix 28-17. And Jeremy, one of the things that I think makes this so interesting for where the Thunder are at right now is that it is so competitive beyond the starters and beyond the main guys in the rotation. When you have a night like last night where SGA is not even playing in the fourth quarter and you're going to the bench guys from 8 all the way down to 15, they're not letting off the gas because that's a chance for them to prove themselves and compete with one another for playing time there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why it's a team sport. You have to understand your role. You have to understand that it's a team, and you really, it's hard to explain if you've never been on a team, but it's just like a thing where you have to know your role. You have to know what you're valuable to the team. What is the best thing you can bring to the team? And when they do that, and that's what they've done, everybody on the team always knows, like, look, this is how I can bring importance to the team. They already know what it feels like to win. So when you understand that, it's just like a great thing to have in terms of 1 through 15. If your 15th person on the team knows this what it feels like to win, then you're going to be a better team. Obviously, the first option, the second option, the third option, they're going to know what it feels like to win and what it feels like to whatever. But when you got your 13th, 14th, 15th person knowing, like, look, this is the role I gotta play, and this how it feels to win, then it's just gonna make your team better. It's amazing to assemble a team that 1 through 15 know, look, this is my role, and this is what it takes to win. And that's what it looks like with OKC.
Yeah, they don't take things casual. And Rylan, I would say that comes from the top down with Mark Daigneault never backing off himself. But then another element, SGA, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, like they don't push these guys to the bench aside and act like they're a bunch of nobodies. They're very close with these guys, and they're pushing them to the limits to keep this thing going and keep this train moving here. We talk about, this team being tight. It's not like when, I hear Shaq talk about all the time on Inside the NBA that he didn't even know the names of his teammates that were on the bench. This is not the case at all. Like SGA, I'm sure there's some words being exchanged between even him and guys like, Carlson and others. Like they're pushing them hard.
Yeah, I mean, on the court, you can see how much that they really appreciate one another and appreciate what goes into everyone's role. And those roles vary. Some guys are the stars. Some guys are doing most of their work outside of game day. They're doing most of their work by helping guys rehab at practice, by getting guys sharper in that setting. And it's stuff that doesn't get admiration from everyone watching because we don't ever see that. But it's stuff that gets admiration from the people in that building. And they really do elevate that internally with their organization. So from top down, you see them always talking on the bench, always talking to each other post game, lifting each other up post game. That's a big deal. And also the leadership by example, beyond just saying things. The leadership by example of if Shai and J-Dub and Chet are going to go every night and they're going to be engaged defensively, play with intensity, make smart decisions with a basketball, and never just go out there and start shot chucking or never go out there and start overly experimenting with their game. If they're going to be on their stuff every night, then who are you not to be? Like, you've got to follow that example that they're setting. And so I think that whenever you look at that from a player standpoint, it's contagious. And it goes back to Mark at the end of the day, because he was very intentional with how he cultivated the culture in Oklahoma City. He didn't let guys get away with anything whenever they were a 20-something win team. He was still preaching this same message that people are now getting accustomed to, the 0-0 mentality, the 1 of 82 approach that he has, being so hell-bent on being a great defense. All these principles were in store way back then. Whenever they were losing more than they were winning, they were getting blown out more than they were winning back then. But it's about the foundation that he set, that now whenever they're coming off of a championship, off of a shortened off season, with everybody wondering about a championship hangover, they're staying true to that foundation that was laid years ago. And that foundation is what all these players have known. The guys who are here right now were here then, and the ones who weren't here then, like a Chet who got drafted in 2022, like this is the only NBA life he's ever known, is guys who treat the game and treat the season like this. And so it's become very easy for it to translate year to year and game to game. And it goes from the top of the roster to the top of the coaching staff all the way down.
Let me go over some numbers that I want to talk about before we move on here. When we talk about stars stepping up and all this, this is, what's the quarterfinal game of the NBA Cup. And we've seen some NBA Cup games in the last couple of weeks. But look at this for Shai, for example, when we talk about stepping up in these type of games. His efficiency, single season ranks among 30-point scorers all time right now. True shooting percentage, first ever all time at a very nice 69%. Second in three-point field goal percentage, 44%. Sixth in two-point field goal percentage at 60%. And his turnovers per game is the fewest as well all time at 1.7. SGA is doing exactly what he needs to do, what's being asked of him, and then some, Jeremy.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's, some people get paid and it's like, oh, he's overpaid or he's underpaid, whatever it is. He's doing, like you said, everything that they could imagine. I mean, he's getting better every year. He's hitting every shot he takes. He's leading his team to one of the best starts in NBA history. I mean, you can't argue with what he's doing. He's not letting any outside distractions. I mean, he's getting all this publicity, he's getting shoe deals, he's getting commercials, he got the contracts, he got everything, but all he cares about is how he produced and how he, cares about his teammates. And when you got a star like that, that's what you pray for. Someone who you pay and don't care about the money, just keep going, keep getting better. And everyone around him loves him, his coaches, his teammates, everyone, the fans, everyone loves him. And that's what you pray for in a franchise player. And that's what he's doing.
More to come on the Thunder Squad show. We'll talk about the franchise win streak record that's been set, the NBA record for best start ever also been tied. We'll tell you more about that as we continue here on the Thunder Squad show. Stay with us. We continue here on the Thunder Squad show, and the World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Gametime app is clutch, giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Gametime, you can track prices down in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views, pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Gametime. Gametime, proud partner of the Thunder Squad show. Welcome back. We continue here on the Thunder Squad show. Tyler Jones, Rylan Stiles, and Jeremy Lamb here with you. And we're going to talk about the Thunder and their franchise wins record that was set in just a moment. But we want to thank you, first and foremost, folks, for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On the number one sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now it's time to take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get the Locked On Thunder podcast with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. And folks, it's real simple for how you pull this up. All you got to do to get access to the Everydayer Club for the Oklahoma City Thunder is simply by logging on to our Locked On Thunder Everydayer Club, which is lockedonthunder.supercast.com is where you can find that. It's lockedonthunder.supercast.com. Check the link in the show notes to learn more. Thank you for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen today. And thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network. If you're a true Thunder fan, the Everydayer All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with Rylan, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head over. Here it is, folks, lockedonthunder.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can find the link in the show notes. All right. Now, so the numbers here, folks. Let's go over this for you of what we've seen from the Thunder. 24-1. That ties the NBA record for best start ever with the Golden State Warriors, who went on to set the NBA wins record for a season, breaking the record that was previously held by the Bulls. And then you also have the Thunder setting their own franchise record of most consecutive wins in a row. Rylan, it has been quite the start for the Oklahoma City Thunder, to say the least. I wouldn't even say they're picking up from where they left off last year, because they look like they're playing better now than they did at the end of last season.
Yeah, they're certainly playing their best basketball. I mean, when you look at this, it's truly remarkable what they've been able to pull off. I mean, their net rating sitting at plus 17.2. The gap between OKC at the top of the league and the second place in net rating, which is Houston, is a bigger gap than Houston and the seventh place team in net rating, which is Minnesota. The Thunder's defensive rating, it has a bigger gap between them and number 2, which is again Houston. And Houston has a bigger gap at 2 to 24th in the NBA. Like, the Thunder are lapping the league defensively, and that's leading to them lapping the league in net rating. The Thunder have spent more time this season up by at least 20 points than they have trailing this season. That's a wild stat in and of itself. This is a team that is playing at an unbeatable level right now, especially as you start to look at what we've talked about on the show. Early in the year, the only kind of blemish on their start was the fact that they ranked dead last in three-point percentage. And we talked about how streaky this team can be from 3. And they've already climbed themselves out of that pit to the 5th best three-point shooting club in the league, which is better than what they finished last year, which was 6th in three-point percentage a year ago when they won 68 wins, the most in franchise history. Obviously, they're off to their best start in franchise history, tying with Golden State for the best in league history. This winning streak has continued, and I think that it will continue on Saturday against San Antonio, because there's just you can bank on the Thunder playing elite level defense. And then now that their three-point shot is there, plus we've talked about the stars that have been shining for OKC recently, they're just playing at an unbelievable pace. They're in this flow state right now where everything is clicking for them. And that's a big deal. I think that you're seeing this team really take shape in a big way, despite the fact that we haven't seen them play a game yet with their starting 5. We haven't seen them play a game yet fully healthy or anything close to it. And yet here they sit right now atop the NBA yet again. It's truly impressive to see what this team is doing.
Jeremy, it feels like to me this start for the Thunder is like when you date somebody and everything's just going right, like the honeymoon phase, they call it. You know, like you can't find a flaw with your partner here. You don't have arguments with each other. Every meal even tastes better. Just all these, everything's going so well. And for Oklahoma City, like, even the one loss they had, like the Portland, like, they were kind of gassed. We know they're a lot better team than Portland. You don't read too much into that. It's really hard to find something not to like about what Oklahoma City's doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing about it that's so impressive is everything hasn't been going well. They have had so many injuries. They've had so much stuff going on. Like Rylan said, they haven't even played 1 minute with their official starting 5. So it's just good to see that they are able to be this elite, this dominant, this incredible while stuff is going wrong. It's a long season. You got 82 games. You got all this stuff you got to worry about, and they still found a way to win. Their starting 5 haven't played 1 minute together. When I seen that stat the other day, it was like it's mind-boggling. Like you would never even think that a team that has started so well, what are they, 24-1?
Yeah.
And their starting 5 haven't even played together. So, yeah, it's like everything's going great, but at the same time, they got all these injuries. They got this, they got that. Shai was out last game. J-Dub was out for the first 20 games. Like,
yeah.
When you see your star out, and you see like Lou Dort out for multiple games, Wiggins was out multiple games. Like you see these people out and you just continue to see people stepping up. It's like, yeah, it looked like everything going great, but they're just pushing through stuff because everything hasn't been great. It hasn't been perfect for them, but they just find a way to win games and to keep that's that championship mindset. And yeah, I gotta applaud them for that.
Rylan, I want to get your opinion on this. Historical context of what the Thunder have done. I know that they're not finished by any means with this streak and this start, but how do you think it compares to some of these historic teams and what they've done here? Is this are we ahead of ourselves, or is it justified to compare those to those teams that have done similar things that we're talking about here with OKC?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's justified when you look at it by the numbers. I mean, the Thunder are tied with record-wise with the Warriors, who went on to win 73 games, but they have a better net rating than those Warriors teams did. And of course, they each have different specialties. The Warriors was primarily on the offensive end with their three-point shot. The Thunder's primarily defensively, but the Thunder's defense has been stellar. And I think that Draymond Green summarized it best when he was asked about this last week about the Thunder chasing their records. And he mentioned how, that season to get to 73 wins took years off his life, and that you had to have everything go right. You had to have the health go right. And then he stopped himself and said, well, they haven't even had that happen for them yet. And they're sitting here now with a tied record with Golden State. The fact that they've been able to make the injury situation work, but also whenever Mark talks about this team needing to get better, they've done that game to game. They've gotten better, and opponent to opponent. You look at the Suns example. Yes, they had Devin Booker in the first meeting, but what the Suns did well in that first meeting that was a lot closer, went down to the wire, was defensively and on the glass. Devin Booker is not an impact defender, and they had their same front court for each side, and yet Phoenix goes from winning the battle on the glass in that first matchup 51-37 to where now the Suns only had 37 rebounds on Wednesday and the Thunder had 43 to flip that script, and the Thunder forced them into more turnovers by 2, forcing them into 20 turnovers. So the Thunder can even course correct in the sense of the style of play that they have. And the only knock that people really have offered to this fast start for OKC has been the strength of schedule. But the strength of schedule metrics get a bit skewed whenever the Thunder can't play themselves. The Thunder can't play the Thunder to inflate their strength of schedule numbers the way that, for example, Sacramento has their strength of schedule inflated because they've played the Thunder not once, not twice, but 3 times. And so you look down the list of who the Thunder have played this year. They've played the 3-seeded Rockets. They've played the 4-seeded Lakers. They've played the 6-seeded Timberwolves. They've played the 7-seeded Suns twice. They've played the 8-seeded Warriors twice. Like, who is left to play besides Denver, which is out of their control, that the league didn't schedule games against Denver until February to cram them all in at the end of the season. But they've played the Western Conference contenders here, and it still has not threatened them in any sense of the word. So I think that when you look at even the one knock on them, it's very explainable.
Yeah. You control what you could control. You play the teams in front of you, and they're doing exactly what they need to do and handling business. And that's that. I mean, it's not their fault that the league gave them the schedule that they did. And Jeremy, it's the variety of ways. I know a lot of people were talking about that, how much they're blowing out teams, and the margin of victory is just off the charts. Rylan, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's even higher than what it was last year by quite a bit,
Correct.
too. But they've had the close games as well. We saw what they did at the start of the season with the overtime wins against teams like Houston and others there. Like, they've already shown, Jeremy, they can win the blowout game and they can win the close game too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they got closers. You got people that are clutch. You got people who can hit big shots. You got people that make big plays. And then you got a great coach who, calls the perfect plays, no matter who is going. So if Chet is hot, he's going to call a play for Chet. If Shai is hot, obviously all the time, he going to call that play and expect them to make the right play. If J-Dub is hot, he might call the play for him. But like I said last week, Popovich told me when the ball is in your hands, it's not always to shoot. It's always to make the right play. So if you got the bucket, then go get that bucket. But if someone helps, now y'all know where the next pass is, whether it's to the corner, whether it's the fill-up guy, whether it's the roll man, whatever it is. And they have all the tools to, be in the right position. So whether they don't got to play in the fourth quarter or whether they got to play the last minute of the game, they know exactly what to do. Defensively, offensively, you make the right play, and just because the ball is in your hand does not mean you got to shoot it. And that's how they play. They give it to the person that's supposed to shoot the ball, whether that's them with the ball in the hands or that next pass. And it's beautiful to see.
It is indeed. More to come on the Thunder Squad show in a moment. Another injury. Cason Wallace is a bit banged up. What exactly is going on with Cason Wallace, and how does that affect Oklahoma City? We'll explain more on the other side. Thunder Squad show continues. Tyler Jones, Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles here with you. New year, new systems. And this is the time where a lot of us look at the messier parts of running a business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Today's episode is brought to you by Quo, the smartest way to run your business communications. If you're ready to make your workday smoother and keep customers connected without the headaches, Quo makes upgrading your setup easier than ever. A streamlined system that makes such a big difference when communicating with customers. Having calls, texts, and voicemails in one clean view keeps everything organized and helps you stay responsive. Being able to share one team number makes it so much easier to make sure nothing gets missed. Make this the year where no opportunity, no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's quo.com/LockedOnNBA, QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Check them out today. We continue on the Thunder Squad show. Tyler Jones, Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles back here with you now. An injury to Cason Wallace last night, undisclosed. We're hearing reports that he'll be evaluated further today after the Thunder's 138-89 win over Phoenix. And you look at the injury report, Wallace now day-to-day. You got Hartenstein out with that calf injury. Isaiah Joe out with the knee issue. And then, of course, Topic and Sorber have their issues that they're out an extended period of time. But nonetheless, Rylan, this injury with Cason Wallace, we don't really know much at this point. We really don't know anything because it's undisclosed and kind of far some details at the moment.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the injury itself. It did happen during the game, so we got to see what happened, which was that he ran into Mark Williams, which was a massive mountain of a man to run into, and then he immediately takes a take foul to walk straight to the locker room. And then after the game, Mark said that they'll test him today, see where he's at. But at that present moment, Mark didn't know what was going on. Now, the fact that we're sitting here the next day at 4:00 without an update on Cason Wallace might signal a good thing, as opposed to like knowing that he's in a concussion protocol or something. But we won't really know anything definitively until the injury report comes out tomorrow at 5:00 for the initial injury report for this game against the Spurs. I do think that with the injury report, it is going to be interesting to see who all plays, because on the Spurs side, Mitch Johnson said that there's a possibility that Wemby plays for the first time in weeks after dealing with his calf strain. we are sitting in the middle of the 10 to 14 day reevaluation period for Isaiah Hartenstein. So we don't know what that reevaluation has foretold, if it's happened yet. And then with Isaiah Joe, the knee contusion, that is a situation where it can be cleared up today. It's really a deep bruise. We don't know anything on those fronts. So really all four of those major pieces, whenever you split them up between the two sides, they're all up in the air. They could all either be in action or be all out on Saturday. And that puts an interesting wrinkle into this initial game against the Spurs, and really just shows how unique of a scenario that this is, where now you're going to play the Spurs 5 times this year, including 3 times in the next 2 weeks, all 3 games at different locations in Vegas, San Antonio, then Oklahoma City. And all 3 games could have dramatically different lineups depending on who can be in and out.
Yeah, very true. Very good point there. Jeremy, Cason Wallace not in the lineup potentially here. I love what I've seen from this guy. And, here we are in year 3. And to start off the season, I feel like we've seen the best version of Cason Wallace from the last 3 years, that we continue to see his growth. Not saying that they won't be able to win without him. I think they'll be fine, but he's certainly made his presence known, that he's become a big impact player for this squad.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, wait, what happened to Cason Wallace? What happened?
So he was trying to basically do an Iverson cut and ran right into Mark Williams and just kind of smacked into his body. And after he kind of was dazed a little bit, he ended up taking a take foul at the timeline. And as soon as they blew the whistle, he walked to the locker room. So we don't know exactly what it is with Cason at this very moment. But we're still waiting to find out. But it was a shame because he was having such a stellar game. We mentioned the steal he had right off the opening tip. He ends up with 4 steals in 18 minutes in that game, and was really good in transition defensively and offensively, knocking down some threes as well. So it was a shame that he got hurt. But, yeah, we don't know quite yet what exactly the issue is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's a huge difference maker. He's one of those guys that you don't see in the box score what he's doing for the team. He got great hands. He guards the best player every night. And just seeing how he is able to stay in front of people, like you said, Rylan, he got, steal after steal after steal. I mean, OKC got 2 people in the defensive player of the year running. Like, how do you do that on the same team? So just seeing that, he's a huge difference maker. I hate that he got hurt, and it's good that, it probably won't be like a long stretch that he's out. Hopefully it's only a couple games or maybe a week, whatever it is, but he's a huge difference maker, and he helps the team so much, not only in the box score, but, out the box score. And he's a great, well, I don't want to say great yet, but he's a very, very improved 3-point shooter that you can really rely on. And, when you got somebody who's great defensively and great from behind the arc, like that's what you need, and on a championship team like OKC is.
And Jeremy, I want to give you credit here, because the everydayers who listen to the show know that for weeks you've been singing Cason Wallace's praises. And the reason I want to give you credit is because Lou Dort, who has already made an all-defensive team, who has the reputation of being one of the best perimeter defenders in the league that this NBA has to offer, last night he takes the podium, Jeremy, and he says that now he is watching Cason Wallace film, trying to get better at figuring out how Cason Wallace gets so many steals. And more than anybody, for a veteran like that, who has that reputation, who has that kind of cachet, to say, you know what, I am watching film on you now. It used to be the other way around. I'm watching film on you to learn how to get better. That is a stamp of approval to the nth degree, and also just highlights how on the ball that you were about Cason and how great he is defensively. The fact that now Lou Dort is trying to take from his game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, I was thinking about this, guys. So you look at the statistics for Cason Wallace offensively. Averaging 8.5 points a game, slightly up from last year's total of 8.4. Field goal percentage, 44.6%. Three-point percentage, 38.1%. Cason Wallace isn't asked to do a whole lot offensively, but he is asked to be such a difference maker defensively. But that goes to show just the strength of this Thunder team. Like, Jeremy, if for whatever reason, an injury or if guys had an off night and the Thunder decided, Cason Wallace, we need to run the offense through you, or we need you to be the number 2 option for whatever reason, Cason Wallace could still be a huge impact player offensively. The reason why he doesn't have big numbers is because that's just not his job. He knows his role, but he could do that if he was asked.
I mean, he's a good spot up shooter, but I'm not sure that he could be a number 2 option, number 3 option. I don't know. I mean, he might be able to, but nah. He
hasn't shown enough creation in his game to create his own shot and his own bucket.
Well,
he's a high level play finisher.
I'm saying in a one night scenario, if you needed him to step up, he could. I'm not saying it's a full-time thing. No.
Oh, well, he'll definitely step up. There's no question he's gonna step up. But you know, if you want him to create his own shot and create for others, you're asking him to do what J-Dub do or AJ Mitchell. I don't know if he could do that, but he could definitely step up and hit some shots and play great defense. That's every night. But in terms of putting the ball in his hands, like I said, hitting the roller, hitting the fill-up guy, hitting the the corner, like you never know. Nah, he not doing that, but he's a big time player for sure. But I'm not telling him to bring the ball up and make plays for everybody.
So Adam knows what I'm talking about. This is what he said. He puts a good analogy. Adam in the comments says, just a one-night stand, he could.
Anyone can get up for one night. I mean, you can always dig into your bag and find one night in yourself, especially if you get lucky enough to. But
I love Cason Wallace. I ain't trying to downplay what he do, but
hypothetically,
you're not about to put a ball in his hands.
Hypothetically, it would be interesting because of his background as a player. I mean, he's not been able to do that with the Thunder, but in high school and at Kentucky, he was a point guard. He was a true blue point guard, and he has not had to do that in OKC. And so, like you haven't really gotten to see him explore that level of his game because of his role. But man, he's such a star in his role that you want to keep him in the role he's in right now as a play finisher offensively and an absolute menace defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Back Levac, who is that? He said Jay Lamb is horrid. Tell him that. What is he talking about?
Not true.
He's missing. He's hating. Let him hate.
All right, we'll let him hate.
We'll let him hate. You know, they hate us because they ain't us. They ain't Jeremy Lamb. You know, I'll ride or die with this guy. You know, he can. Jeremy's he's our spot up shooter. We'll run the point through Jeremy.
He's our star. He's our franchise player. I have more on Jeremy Lamb coming later on. Don't let me forget that. I'm going to close the show today with a tangent because you guys have both closed the show. I'll close the show today because I've got a tangent ready to go.
I'm ready for it. We got one more segment to go. We got one more segment to go. We're going to talk Mark Daigneault and what his focus is for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you're going to get that tangent from Rylan Stiles as well coming up in just a matter of moments. Stay with us as we continue here. Final segment next on the Thunder Squad Show.
Nice.
Thunder Squad Show continues, and guys, it's 2025, almost 2026. And those days of waiting for something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they're over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending that weird shoulder stiffness is just sleeping wrong. It's time to take your health seriously, and ZocDoc makes that easier than ever, because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym or eating right. It's about actually getting things checked out when something feels off. Using ZocDoc makes scheduling easier. Search for in-network doctors and book right in the app. Real appointment times are listed, including same-day visits. No more back-and-forth phone calls or waiting weeks to be seen. So stop putting off your doctor's appointments and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Check them out now. Final segment here on the Thunder Squad show right here on the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. Tyler Jones, Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb back here with you now. So Mark Daigneault, after the win last night over Phoenix, 131-89, extending the win streak to a franchise record of 16. And now with the Thunder sitting at 24-1, he was asked about what the focus is in regards to this win streak and everything. He said, not focusing on the win streak. You just got to play the next possession, get better the next day, win the next quarter, and compete in the next game. And then if you do that and you present and you're present in that process, sometimes you look up and you win a certain amount of games in a row. But we certainly need to understand we still have a lot of improvement to make. We have a lot of things to sustain and a lot of competitive challenges ahead. Jeremy, that's exactly what you want to hear from your head coach. They're not settling. They're not content. They're charging on here at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough when you're doing great, you win a lot of games, you know, everything seems to be going great. But you got to understand that it's a lot more basketball to play. You know, it's so many more games in the season. Anything can happen. So just with him, I like that he's just trying to keep them focused. It's not about like trying to be so hard on them or make them practice so much. It's mental. It's a mental game right now because they are so ahead of the curve. And if you're ahead of the curve mentally, then you're gonna stay ahead of the curve. So for him, you know, he just got to keep his team focused, which that's what he's doing. And everybody seems focused, but if you're not focused, you can easily, you know, just feel like, oh yeah, we're doing our thing, and you can lose focus with all the distractions out here, you know, whatever it is. So with him, I think just I think he realized that mentally is the biggest thing. You don't got to go in there and run suicides and, you know, practice 2 hours a day. Nah, it's about your mental. As long as you're mentally focused, you working on your game, you working on your, you know, treatment on and off the court, all those little things matter. But the biggest thing is mentally, and that's what he's trying to do. And I love it.
Rylan, when I go back to the last couple lines of that quote from Mark Daigneault, he says, we certainly need to understand we have a lot of improvement to make. We have a lot of things to sustain and a lot of competitive challenges ahead. What do you think Mark Daigneault is talking about specifically when he says a lot of improvement to make? What do you think Mark Daigneault's looking for?
I think that you look at the start of the second quarter last night and how stagnant the offense got without Shai in the game. And it's not an indictment on anybody. It's the simple fact that they do have a lot of work to put in to these non-Shai lineups because of the injuries that we've already talked about for an hour now. Of they haven't gotten to play a ton with AJ and J-Dub and Chet, and they've got to find their rhythm. They've got to find their groove as a unit. What is their identity when Shai's not on the court? What are they going to? How are they going to attack defenses? How are they going to change their schemes offensively? And that's a long process, and that's about habit building. That's about continuous work. And if you happen to do those habits the right way, you're going to win. But ultimately, the plan here is, especially whenever you're sitting here at 24-1 and you have a 6-game lead already on the number 2 seed in the West, like you're just worried about building championship level habits. And so that's one area where the Thunder do have a long way to go. And you look at the double big lineups that have been so good this season and so much more improved this season. They've still played 40 games together, Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. Like that's going to have another avenue to go. And then even the stuff that looks great on paper statistically and to the observant eye, to the lens of fans and media, like yes, they had a very successful night last night and the stars did shine, but they're continuing to find the ways to leverage how great that Shai is with the emergence of Chet offensively, with what J-Dub can do as he starts to come back into form as a scorer, and blending those three together. And so like all this stuff has resulted in wins, but it all can be sharpened, and sharpening yourself for the postseason as you try to go back to back and be the first repeat winner since 2018. Like all that stuff still matters despite the instant success of 24-1.
Yeah, it's a great point. Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb, Tyler Jones here with you on the Thunder Squad show today. Jeremy, when you're a team like the Thunder that's playing so well and everything appears to be in motion, right? That it's just all right in front of you of the way they're playing. How do you stay motivated? You were a part of championship teams, at UConn, and did a lot of winning with the Thunder and everything here. In times like this, when things are going so well, is it difficult to find that motivation to improve?
No, I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's just, when you feel that winning, when you get a taste of winning, it's like, I want to taste that again. You know what I mean? You really want to get back to that point. And I think that's what's driving them. It's nothing else. If they lost last year, then they would have been motivated by losing. But when you win, it's like either you get satisfied or you're motivated by it. And I think they're motivated by it. Like that's the thing that motivates you when you do something good. Like Shai, when he have a 30-point game, he wants to do it again. Whereas there's some people, they have 30-point games and it's like, I'm good. Let me sleep in the next day. Nah, he has 30-point games and he's like, I want to do it again and again and again. So I just think that feeling of winning, I think that's what's motivating them right now. And they really realize, like, let's do it again. And on top of that, they've seen the teams that have come before them. And, you win it one time, cool. But we could do it again and again. So, they looking at the Bulls back in the day. They looking at Golden State, years ago. They looking at LeBron in Miami. They looking at this and they're like, that's what we want to be. They looked up to these guys, as we all did. So it's like they realize, I feel like they realize they're in a position to do the same thing as their idols. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's keep going. And I think that's the motivation. Yeah.
Rylan, Daigneault talks about the challenges ahead. You get San Antonio on Saturday, and then if you win that, you take on the winner of the Knicks Magic game. Tell me about those matchups in your eyes, potentially going to Vegas and all, chance to win the NBA Cup. What type of challenges do those teams present for Mark Daigneault's squad, you think?
I'm very interested in this Saturday game against the Spurs. I mean, this Thunder defense has been elite at forcing turnovers for 2 straight seasons, the best in NBA history at forcing turnovers. This Spurs unit has the deepest, most talented collection of ball handlers that the Thunder have faced all year long. The caveat is they're exceptionally young, from Castle to Harper. They're very young. De'Aaron Fox, of course, the veteran in that group. How do they handle seeing a defense like this? Can they still protect the ball against a defense like this? Because if you start to give it away to OKC and you let them get out in transition, you let them attack a defense that doesn't have a set shell, even with Wemby, who is a defensive player of the year candidate, even if you were to play Saturday, if you're turning the ball over, you're done in at that point. So I'm really curious how the Spurs can protect the ball, if they can protect the ball against Oklahoma City Saturday. And then you move on to the East. If it's the Magic's calling card being their defense, can they force the Thunder to get into a rock fight? Because the Magic don't have the offensive power OKC does, but they do have a defense to kind of undermine it. And if you can get into a slugfest, you have a chance here at the end of games. And then with the Knicks, I love the Knicks, except for in the Thunder matchup, because I think that OKC will just exploit Cat and Brunson whenever they have to play defense against this offense. So can they prove me wrong, or do they prove me right if it's the Knicks there? So that's what I'm thinking about these 3 teams.
Jeremy, your thoughts on the potential matchups for Oklahoma City, starting with San Antonio, and then if you win that, you get the winner of the Knicks and a Magic matchup there.
Yeah, with San Antonio, I mean, they got weapons. I don't know. I'm not betting against OKC ever because they doing their thing. But I don't know. I think they got weapons, and like I said, it's the NCAA tournament. Anything can happen. It's NBA teams. Anybody can beat anybody, on any given night. So you never know what can happen, but nah, I'm not going against OKC. I think they're gonna run through the tournament, and they're gonna get in the cold tub the next day after they win the NBA Cup, and they're gonna keep going on and keep going, and just relax and go on to what they gotta do.
Dominating like a Dan Hurley coach team at UConn. I mean, that's what I think we're going to see from the Thunder over these next couple games. We got a little bit of time. Rylan teased a big rant. Rylan, you got 60 seconds. Floor is yours.
60 seconds is all I need. I'm a Minuteman. Jeremy, you and I have had conversations, before shows, after shows, and I do this show 5 days a week, plus every single game, plus 4 live streams. I'm sick of talking about the Thunder. I'm sick of talking about the Thunder player development. I want to talk about podcast development. Tyler and I have been doing podcasts for years. You've been doing podcasts for a month, and the improvements that you have made, and you know that I've told you this off the pod, so you know it's true. The improvements that you've made show to show fits the Thunder's identity, and I think that, Sam Presti might have instilled that in you. You've improved, and you've stacked days every single pod. I thought today was your best show. I also thought at the time Tuesday was your best show, but I thought today you killed it, and we continue to highlight all the takes that you've been right about. And so for that, Jeremy, as you continue to improve, I will now give you what you've asked for. For a month straight, you've asked for me to join a certain club, and Jeremy, because of your improvement,
oh,
let's do it.
Yes, sir.
3 glasses on. 3 glasses on.
Let's
right
go.
here.
Yo,
That's for you,
I
Jeremy.
appreciate that, man. I'm trying to get better, and I'm trying to learn from y'all. Y'all have taught me a lot. Just just observing, and I appreciate that. Put the glasses back on.
I got you. I got you. You've earned it.
I love it. That's fantastic.
I
didn't see that
appreciate it.
coming. Good finish to today's show, Rylan Stiles.
And hold on. My boy Cade, what's his name?
Cade Braun something.
Whatever his name is, bro. I am not high. Relax. Relax, bro. Yeah, so but shout out Cade, man.
That's great. David says Jeremy Lamb rules. Yeah, that's some great stuff. Guys, before we go, one more thing that we need to plug here. Thank you for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get the Locked On Thunder podcast with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. And all you have to do, my friends, is go to lockedonthunder.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Thank you for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On, the #1 sports podcast network. If you're a true diehard Thunder fan, the Everydayer All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with Rylan, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount on the Locked On merch store. And all you got to do, my friends, is head to the lockedonthunder.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. Guys, we got to run. Fun show today. Rylan, real quick, you'll have post-game coverage of the matchup against the Spurs on Saturday night.
That's right. Friday morning, you'll have me and Justin Martinez, who's in Vegas from the Oklahoman, covering this matchup. And then Saturday night after the game, we'll be back here recapping whatever happens on Saturday and the fallout that comes from that.
We'll look forward to it. And we'll be back here with this show next Tuesday, 3:30 Central Time. We will see you then. For Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles, I am Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday.